Time for what?
Experience in college.
Time for reinforcement.
Time for liftoff!
Where nothing is impossible unless you think it is impossible.
College.
My college scholarship.
Yes.
Boom.
College ran by real fast.
You hung in with the best college.
Do this thing.
Genius.
But thank you so much for coming to the Modus Q&A. The agenda for this evening is you. You. So if you miss any of this, I know everyone has busy lives. I just got a lecture from another adult. Have to be on time. You have to do everything. Number one, remember, if you're doing your best and you're still being good to yourself and your neighbor and your family in the best way you can, that's A+ in my book. That's an A+ in my book. So who am I? I'm Ana Maria Vaccaro. I'm one of the 5 college counselors. Yes, St. Ignatius has 5 college counselors besides the assigned personal academic counselor. But I am here on behalf of Modus. I am also the Modus College Advisor at St. Ignatius for over a decade. And if you're wondering, does she know what she's talking about when she talks about college? Well, let's see. I've been doing it for over 3 decades. Yes, since last century. And I've also have been worked at UCSF, done some consulting work at UC Berkeley, worked at the public school district, loved my experience at Thurgood Marshall, also worked college, at Christ Ray Network School, ICA, and of course for over 10 years at St. Ignatius. So when does the financial aid process begin for a junior? Love that question, because guess what? We had a scholarship workshop with our 9th and 10th graders at lunch today. It was a packed house. Oh my God, it was so packed. What ended up happening was we told them, your semester grade is starting the financial aid process. Yes, you heard me say that. Your financial aid with your grades is starting the financial aid process. So do know that whether you are a billionaire or you have a lot of financial need, a lot of colleges across the nation give what's called merit aid scholarship. Yeah, it's called merit aid scholarship. Merit aid, and everyone can do that. So I'm going to type that in here too. And don't worry, merit aid does not matter what your family income is. It matters on the talents and what your student brings to the campus. Keep that in mind. Not all colleges do, but a majority do that. So you as a parent can always contact the financial aid office to ask about that, okay? But you may say, but what about need-based aid? Well, right now, juniors should be checking out colleges that help and meet their family's financial aid. So while we wait for more questions, let's just start with some examples right now. I'm going to show you one of my favorite websites. And hopefully be one of yours too. So if I go to myintuition.org, this is a website which they go and guess what? They provide information and need-based aid. Hey, I need money. Freshman, sophomore, junior, you name it. And look at all the schools that participate in this program. Why I'm not mentioning the other word, which is required by all college, the net price calculator, because it will be for our junior and lower classmen more available late spring, because the financial aid form is changing during the year. Here you see some names that you are familiar with. But let's pick a name that maybe you're not familiar with. Let's look at Denison University. So if I go to Denison University, and let's just say picking the quickest thing I have available, and I'm putting all this type of financial aid information. Yes, you as a parent or you as the student can go ahead and say, well, how much money would I get if this is how much my family income is? Now, I know there's a whole bunch of variables out there, but do know that there is a lot of different options. And then looky. For this one family, and I'll show you the information I put in, you get to see how much need-based aid that they get. So if you apply for financial aid, how much aid you get every single time. And then on top of that, it also shows you how much for this specific school, not schools, for this specific school, how much tuition you have. And also it is expected part financial aid loans. So that is some information. This is an estimate. Yes, this is an estimate of your financial aid. So some loans are required as part of financial aid. Not everyone gives it. And then always colleges will expect the student to work. Now, this is one school campus. So let's go back and let's just pick another school. Okay, let's put in Lafayette, and let's now put what we want to do is, as you as a parent, is number one is to see how this is going out for you. What's important before you do all this is have a family conversation, and it's fine if it's only with the adults. Ask yourselves, what are you comfortable paying out of pocket? Is it the same that you're paying here at SI, or is circumstances have changed? It's going to be different. Now notice 2 different schools, 2 different locations, and 2 different amounts. That's why to explore different types of financial aid that is out there. Because look, the one had high with 30 plus, and this is 19,000. Now, this does only include need-based scholarship, not merit-based aid. So that's something that's important to look at. Times, like I'm just going to pick a random school right now. Go look at Furman University Merit Awards. If I put that campus on there, I could look at what merit awards are available. So here, whether you're a junior or even a sophomore or freshman parent, you could see what are they looking at. So again, if you are a billionaire out there, you could still get merit awards from colleges. Just know that some of the schools, so if we go back to my intuition, right? So let's press the back button one more time. There are some schools on this list that meet 100% full need, 100%. And we actually had some students ask, well, what does that mean? Well, if the school costs about $90,000, like at Pomona College, a beautiful campus down in Southern California, guess what? If you demonstrate need for, let's say, $70,000, they'll provide you that $70,000 as long as you continue to provide that information supporting that you need that need. But wait, she said no merit award. Well, pretty much if we look at a profile at Pomona College, so let's go into that site. Let's go into one site, collegescorecard.edu, and let me put that in there. Question that we're still talking about, what should I do to start for my junior for financial aid? And so we talked about exploring colleges. So here's Pomona College. Again, here's a website from our government. Our taxes pay for this. And don't worry, I'm getting to it. 95% graduation rate, average cost. Wait, $9,700? Yes, that's how much money the campus gives. And the government provides information. How much is the average when a student graduates after they graduate from that specific school? And then also you can look at how many people get federal loans. So this is a campus that rarely gives out loans because students don't need it because Pomona College is so generous. But why am I showing you Pomona College? Well, sometimes there are schools that meet 100% need, but did you see that acceptance rate? 7%. So some of these are challenging, but not all of them. So if you want a list of schools, Money Magazine provides you a list of 75 colleges that meet full needs. So if you want to see that list, here is some of the list of the schools on there. Now, so the comment was several top schools do not offer merit aids, only need-based. Yes, that is the majority. So you're going to see them right now in a few minutes. So this article, which is I put in there, don't do it like Amherst, Barnard College, Bowdoin, Cal Institute of Tech. Why? Because everyone who gets accepted don't get merit aid. But let's check out Case Western. Now, Case Western meets full need, but what if you do have some assets? Meaning, hey, I have an extra house in Lake Tahoe. Hey, I've always had extra money in case of a rainy day. So let's look at Case University scholarships, right? So let's go look here. I just use a keyword, click on a name, ta-da, and academic achievement, performance on standardized scores. And it is a test optional school. So if you want to do that, some schools like out-of-state publics may ask for test scores. If you want their merit aid, many private schools don't require it. But this is not and. These are all ors. So there are websites if you want to check them out. And by the way, Case Western is an urban, medium-sized campus ranked nationally for nursing, engineering, and business. Oh, and let me tell you, it has the #1 and largest thinkerspace room, like to design and buildings than any other campus in the nation. So those are some other scholarships that are available for these schools that do meet a lot of need. But also, if you don't have need, but you don't want to pay the high price tag, It's expensive out there. It's expensive out there. And some campuses may not consider information about, costs. And if you're thinking like, hey, we may have to take a loan, or should we take a loan, to have people to talk to you about taking loans or whether you not take a loan as well. If you didn't notice, Case Western really wants to show you the money. And so here at Case Western, so again, going back to that question, hey, my kid's not a senior right now. What should I do for financial aid? Well, financial aid is not only the financial aid forms that the college requires, but it's also outside scholarship. Now, Case Western's in Ohio, but there are a lot of websites that are out there. Here, they just give you a few. So if you go to scholarships.com, here you could go look at feature scholarships. Yes, Burger King, you've heard of that. Jackie Robinson is also coming out soon. Disturbed Drivers Video Contest is coming out. Those are different scholarships. And also, don't forget to check your churches, check your employer, check if your family's in the union. When I worked at Safeway, I was in a union. They offer a scholarship. So don't forget to look at that. Scholarships.com is a great website where you can find information about scholarships outside. And even, let's just say, true story, they won a scholarship, or I'll give it to you, Courage to Grow scholarship. We had a student a couple of years from now, graduate from college already, and she applied for the Courage to Grow scholarship. Now, this is for juniors and seniors, so that's a key thing. When you look at a scholarship, check the eligibility right away. Don't worry, I'll show you one for our freshmen and sophomores. There is money out there. There is money. Well, she won this. Now, this is maybe going to pay for $2. Actually, she took that money to go to a private summer school program she really wanted to go to. But on her college application, she won this, her middle of her junior year. And then on her senior year, she put on her college application and said the following: I am the first person in 165 years who won that scholarship. And that's a fact. That is true. Yes, that was true. So this is information that's not only giving you some money, but also makes you stand out for awards. Okay, so let's look at another scholarship, because I promised I would show for my freshmen. So if I put JFK Courage Scholarship. Now, yes, I do know these scholarships. Yes, all the counselors should be able to help your student to get scholarships. Also, we have an amazing person that works at our office. Did you know in the counseling center, there is a board that has scholarships, and sometimes they're local scholarships. I'll show you a local scholarship. Now, this is a national one. So yeah, always when you find a scholarship, always check the eligibility. This is January 12th. They could do something over Christmas break if they're bored. Maybe get extra credit from their social studies teacher. $1,000 work essay about courage. They give you helpful tips. And here's the thing is, when a student applies for college, writing a lot of essays. I mean, a lot of essays. So that's something that they can start getting practice on, these type of different scholarships that's available. Now, I did mention a local scholarship. Again, another one available to all grade levels. But for next year, it just passed. But does your kid want to check? Do you know, Mercy SF, before they closed down, their student won this national scholarship. Again, it's just based not on grades, but just on a written speech that they record. And this was the thing this year. Maybe we'll get a winner this year. We have almost a dozen who have applied for it. Hey, you got a middle school kid? There's even one over here. So here is also the Patriots Pen one as well, too. I talked a lot about money. There's still going to be more questions about money that's out there. So guess what I'm going to do? And I'm going to tell you one thing I tell every student what to do. Let's know our A to G. What is she talking about? The UC system has a list that all the UCs and Cal State colleges look at. Who are UCs or Cal States? So if I give you a California state map, okay, so if we look at the Cal State, all these schools, 23, these are partnered with San Francisco State, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. If you're curious which ones are the hard ones this year to get into, ready? San Jose, San Luis Obispo, Los Angeles, Fullerton, Long Beach, and oh yes, San Diego. So if you want to like these schools, these are the CSUs. Other ones will be the likely schools, right? Like San Marcos, which is not that 40 minutes away, is easier because it's a newer one. That's basically the main reason for for these schools being harder versus easier compared to other ones. So all these CSUs, and so here are all the UCs. Now UCSF, that is graduate school. So we're going to hold off on that. Now, wait, why aren't you not saying which ones are the harder ones? Okay, so pretty much, ready? Take a deep breath. Time. Okay, majority, all the UCs are impacted. If you look at some of our data, you will see the ones that are not as much is Riverside, except if you're engineering. It's the second newest one, 1960s. And then UC Merced. Why? It opened up in 2005. It has space to grow, but all the other UCs are impacted. They're popular. They're not nationally ranked. They're internationally ranked. That's hard to swallow when you pay a lot of tax dollars in here. Oh, did I tell you I'm a mom of 4 children that I love? Yeah. So I'm also, when I say it's hard or take a deep breath, I get it. I get it. Okay. Why am I only talking about these public schools? And didn't you just mention something about A to G? Yeah. Okay. So I'm all about including everyone. Why am I talking about this now? November 30th is a deadline for the public schools in California. And the public schools in California, this is their Bible. This is what they follow. So here you're seeing all the classes that campuses for the UC-CSU honor. So you have that list and everything with the star, and only with the star. If you get a B, it's cap 4.0. Yes. And so here, now I want you to pay attention to this. Any juniors in the house? Guess what? Watch. Wait, it's coming. And sophomores in house, religious studies 201 counts as an English. Did you know Cal Poly San Luis Obispo wants their students, especially engineers, have 5 years of English? Here's one way to get that done. Here's a second way. They could also take senior year telling stories, faith, film, and fiction. We'll be taking signups, talk for next year when we come back, right? For mathematics as well. For mathematics, right? Did you know that calculus is a key ingredient to be accepted to any school of business administration, engineering, nursing across the nation? Just want to highlight that a lot of families are not aware of that. So you want your student to have a balanced list where they have time for their outside activities, time for you, but they love sports medicine that counts as a science. Woo, it looks good. But do know, if I scroll down, engineering, environmental science, still good classes. They're still called college preparatory electives, but don't count as a core science for the UCs and Cal State. So that's why this list is so important, right? So it's important to look at this classes. All right. I got a question. I saw this before I lose it. This is another estimator. You can see how, if you have needs from the federal government. I'll explain what that is in a minute. But the question is, what is FSA ID? What is this FSA ID? It's the last link I just sent to you. It's so that link over, which you're going to see on the screen here, is the federal student aid, right? So that's what FSA, yes, it's from your government, and it's saying, hey, we need you to create an account. Can a freshman parent do this? Yes. Can a sophomore parent do this? Yes. Can a junior parent do it? Yes. Should senior parents do this? Yes. Like now. Now, notice it says parent singular. It's because if there is 2 parents, they only want 1 parent information and only 1 student. So the student will need to create an account, and also the parent would need to create an account if they want any federal aid. Some schools, so let's look at what this all is. And then I do notice you'll see like, oh, you need a social security number. They are making some changes. That's why there's a delay this year for parents who don't have a social security number. In case we have in the audience a student who doesn't have a social security number, then just know there's a California DREAM Act as another form of financial aid. But you would not fill this out if you, the student, have a social security number. Okay, if the parent doesn't have one, but the student does, you still create the FSA. You could still use this federal student aid estimator to see would you get any more Pell Grant. If you've heard the rumors like, hey, I heard if you're low income in the eyes of the federal government, you get more aid. True. I heard if you're middle income, you may not get the same amount of money as people have done in the past. True. Why do you think I showed you this My Intuition website? So let's look at financial aid requirements on there. So, because there's a lot of terms I'm just using. So let's start with a local school, USFCA. And if I go financial aid requirement. Now, I'm picking Jesuit schools as I say because it's a Jesuit school. Now, graduate school, remember, they're not applying for graduate school. They're applying for undergraduate school. So we want to skip that one, USF. So let's go right here. And every website's going to be a little bit different. Here that talks about verification forms. So looking at outside scholarships, again, gift aid or free money, employment, other loans, outside scholarships. Yes, you would need to renew. And here, these are the only forms they accept. The FAFSA form, which has not come out yet, it will come out the end of December, or the California Dream Act. And here's the deadline, February 1st, during their senior year. Here is that information for USF. But if I go down the freeway and go to Santa Clara University Financial, if I can spell it right, requirements, it's going to introduce me to something a little bit different. So it tells me the eligibility of getting financial aid, how they determine it. So every college in the nation, from City College of San Francisco to also Harvard, will need the FAFSA form so they could get some of that need-based aid. But remember, this is a school that will look at the FAFSA form, but here they also will look at other different information too. So like some schools, you notice like at USF ask for a lot of different financial aid forms. Here at Santa Clara, they don't ask for the verification form right away. So if a student doesn't have a Social Security number, please make sure that they take advantage of look at information for those who are undocumented. Also look at the website. Again, you as parents can contact the financial aid office, not admissions, but you can always contact the financial aid office if there's questions. And the reason why we showed you Santa Clara, because they have FAFSA requirements and, did you hear the and? CSS profile. What is this? So CSS profile goes in depth looking at a lot of schools. It is run by the College Board, but you can just go, as you can see here, CSS profile. You can just go cssprofile.org. Not all colleges need it. Want to know who needs it? These are the colleges that are the most generous for need-based aid. I had a beautiful family. There's a school that only offers FAFSA, but the school's giving them a lot of merit aid. Remember that question? Well, where's the merit awards? Well, if your kid's profile, academic activity is up here, but the school's college profile is here, they're going to want to send some money to the kid, even if they're a billionaire. Yes, it is true. And so here you can see these are the colleges, full name, just that 75, but you've maybe not heard of Clark University, not the hardest school to get into, but not the easiest, very generous. College of Worcester. Oh my God. Do you know every kid does a research project with a mentorship with a professor? So there's a lot of different schools here for you to look at. Okay, so just wanted to show you that comparison. Hopefully I answered that question, FSAID. But guess what? I'm going to show you ways to get merit aid. So remember, you can get a merit award whether you are a billionaire or not. So you know what I'm going to show you? Come on. Do you know it? Where is our toolkit? All right, I'm going to show you. Now, your student has access to it, and only module students can have access to this, where you can get a list. Yeah, here are all a bunch of scholarships that are broken down by the month, and then also by grade level. There's also a legend if we had past students. Do you know this? Prudential? No one applied. And did you know we've had a handful of students that won it because it's basic community service? But this is what I really want to show you guys. Enrichment programs. Now, on January 12th, we're going to have an enrichment program fair with just a handful of college programs, internships, employers who want your students. And this is a way for your student to look at different programs. Often I tell students, do something that's meaningful for you. But hey, if you need a double dip and you want to work with people with high needs and get your service hours done, here's Keen SF, right? Where it works with those who have cognitive disabilities, where you play sport and you just work with them one-on-one on a Sunday. Easy peasy. Or, hey, do you want to learn about technology? Now here, there are legends, which ones are free and which ones are not. So these are things you could actually just press Command F and I say, I want to look for all grade levels. Boom. And some of them have scholarship opportunities. If you miss them, there's some for fashion, They love math, leadership, because sometimes it's hard for a kid to start something. Sometimes it's important to have structure out there that's important in their lives. So these are just some things the students have done. Like some people have gone to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and they just discover, like, I love engineering. If I go down here, so this is good for all grade levels C. This is the collection. Remember I told you how old I am? I've dyed this hair many times, damaged it too many times. It shows you all the colleges that meet full needs. Not done. This gives a list down here. Let me use the right scroll bar. Colleges that do flying in, the flying in your students and visit the campus. That's starting junior year. Hey, is your kid who's a junior starting their personal statements? Are they brainstorming different ideas? They could do it on a sheet. They could do it with their college counselor as well, or with me at the workshop. If they love Jesuit schools, look how many Jesuit schools. Look how much this is merit aid. See? I'm trying to think of all the factors. Look how much merit aid is, $25,000. And there's some schools like University of Puget Sound, just right above us in Washington, had free tuition all 4 years. Free tuition all 4 years. If they're already starting their college list, there's a tab here to help them get organized, right? We all need friendly reminders. If you're doing that My Intuition net price calculator over the President's holiday, you can look at this, have a conversation with the financial aid office. If your children come from a beautiful blended family like mine, you can have those conversations and you'll get different answers. I know my kids got different answers from different colleges. So it's important to start that early because it get overwhelming. If they're missing passwords, financially an analyzer, all these different stuff. I'm not done. Is your kid going to be an artist, a performer, a dancer? Here's a spreadsheet, how to keep that track, because it's really hard. Here's some extra scholarships for schools. Again, a lot of these are merit scholarships. Oh, can I tell you something about merit scholarships? I'm not happy about this. I saw Boston University and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to tell these wonderful parents and guardians out here. So if I go to Boston University, and make sure you use this word, deadline. Let's just say you use that word. I'm going to go look on here, see happy students, merit scholarship for first year students. So they give money based on talents, right? They give you a profile, so that's kind of nice. They say typically, but not required. So there's a lot of colleges, even the UCs have reached, what's this? Deadline December 1st. Now notice this, no CSS or FAFSA required. So this is a school that does meet in full need. But if your kid does not submit by December 1st, they're out. They won't be considered. They could be super amazing, meet everything for this requirement. So when you have that college list or starting to develop that college list, so let's kind of look at, these are likely schools to get into because not everyone's going to get into Boston University. And at the same time, Boston University may not be the right school. It's like a UC. It's one strip of a street and lots of kids go, 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 go. I know some people didn't start getting a small classroom to their junior year. That may be great for some students, but not for everybody. As soon as you start thinking of school, see if they're going to continue being test optional. Majority of colleges will be test optional. I'll show you a site about that. Something important to know. See if they require an interview. I'm going to show you some data on there. So if you don't start asking me questions, I'm just going to start showing you the data. Can you tell I can talk? Oh my God, my poor colleagues. What recommendations? So some of them are specific. Most of them are not. What deadlines? Do they get on the mailing list? Did they email the rep? Yeah. This is about a relationship. This is like a dating profile that you're like trying to check the box. But also your student doesn't have to use all these, but if you're wondering like, I'm not sure I'm going to apply your here's averages. What type of town? Is it urban or not? How many Pell Grants? I had one student who was asking me about certain schools that they never visit. Like, how far is it from the airport? Because I hear some are like 2 hours away. That's University of Notre Dame. Yeah, that's a long drive. I've done it. But your kid may want to do it, right? So these are things that are really important to kind of look at, right? And it's important on the family time, like check in with your kid once a week, and put a timer, 10 minutes, just check in. What have you done? If they're like, I don't know, like it's finals. Don't ask during finals. Wait till the new year, 10 minutes, let them decide on the date. And if they go, I don't know, like, okay, you're going to go to Miss Vaccara's drop. Do you know I have drop-in times? Most Mondays and Tuesdays, first 30 minutes, it's on my door, room 10 in the counseling office. When should my student begin the college application for Common App schools? Love that question. CommonApp.org. This application, and they have an app, commonapp.org, was designed so that students could start their college application right away. Right? So what do I mean? So yes, if you are a freshman, sophomore, we had sophomores go on the Modus College Tour and they finished a lot of their applications. So let's look at a fake student's application right now. We will have a boot camp day, I think the first day of Easter break. It has not been confirmed yet. And they don't need to add the colleges. Actually, we don't want them to add the colleges. Let's have them create a college email because they will be bombarded by email. I mean, colleges are stalking them. Like as soon as they take they take the PSAT, they're hunting for your children. I'm not exaggerating. So if it's overwhelming, because they need to follow their SI email and not lose emails, which has happened to students, then they could create a college email and put all their college stuff on one email and just make sure that they check it at least once a week, okay? If they get overwhelmed, then once a day, so it'll make it easier to stay on top of it. So this is what students fill out. So they could say, hey, I'm going to just put up my name today. Done. Hey, I'm going to put my address just for today. Done. So could you imagine if a sophomore just picked up a section once a day? Done. You could do most of these sections already. And guess what? You don't have to do the writing. We've had sophomores and juniors do it already for the Modus trip, because even if they're not going to use it to submit it, they got that rough draft done. Darting's the hardest. They could look at their activities and see, family responsibilities count, right? We actually had a student win a national award based on their experiences on that. So they could note that, and they can't put every experience, but they could definitely put a lot. Should the student be focusing on right now? So it's a lot of information that's out there. We want to go by each grade level. If we have a parent feeling overwhelming, again, just know you're already starting for you for being here. And guess what? We do a dress rehearsal on this. We do this quarterly for a reason. It's a lot. And that's why, because it's a lot, even for me as a parent, and I do this for a living, but you need to feel comfortable to lean on us, to have your student check in on us. Okay. So let's do it by grade level. Okay. If I do I think UC Riverside has a great application checklist by grade level. I don't know if it's going to pop up. Oh, it did. So right now, for the seniors who have already been accepted, if they not do well for their semester, they could take away acceptance letters. So the grades are so important. And then after finals, they should kind of sit down with you, look at the course catalog at SI. You just type in course catalog on our website and they'll pop up. What type of classes do I want to take my sophomore or my junior or my senior year? Because the type of classes is key, and they can work with their personal academic counselor, and then also the module support team to help them that. Are they participating in extracurricular activities? But what's something that they're passionate about? Make sure they're getting involved and doing different activities. So key. And then, so make sure they're involved. And one thing is, make sure they're making friends. Have some friends come over. I'm going to tell you, we could talk. Your kid could go to Harvard, but if they're lonely, if they're having a hard time socializing, if they don't know how to network or even ask for help or accept their failures, Harvard's not going to help them be successful. They need to know how to be successful and accept all of who they are. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. I'm talking about this as a counselor and as a parent. It is essential because you're not going to college with them, whether you like it or not. And so the sooner that they could even attempt, maybe I don't love myself, but I'm getting there. Awesome. Let's make sure they're getting there. And then you may think, well, this is not a wellness meeting. But guess what? If you don't have wellness, you can't have all the rest. Think about for you. If you're not 100%, are you 100% in everything else? And we'll never be 100%. So we have to be forgiving for that. So if they do an extracurricular activity, it's not one activity that's is going to get them into college. It's about them getting activity that makes them the winner. They accepting themselves. Look what I'm good at. And then, sure, if it promotes them for college, bonus. But that's a secondary bonus. You as a family need to talk about finances. So I love all those financial questions. Now, remember, regarding about testing, and if I forget, you remind me, just all you need to kind of notice is, are they a great tester or not? If they're not a great tester, guess what? UCs and Cal States, all those public schools won't even look at the test. Over 2,000 colleges will always be test optional. Columbia University, test optional permanently. 10th grade is the same way. And if they got this handled, well, guess what? Next step should be, all right, let's look at colleges. But if they're still struggling in their classes or making friends or getting involved in an activity they enjoy, then then we got to go back and then use their personal academic counselor, use us in modules to help them in that. Having connections and having those kids come over, you need to know your kids' friends. That's really important, right? Because it's about using as a whole village to make sure students are making good decisions for themselves for today and for tomorrow. All right. Scholarships, you see junior, but you saw there's some freshman scholarship and then seniors. It's a mess of work. But if you use that toolkit, it'll give you some information. Okay, hopefully that broke it down. And if you just do one thing for the tip tonight, I don't care if you're a freshman, sophomore, you're awesome. Don't think about this is what's one thing I can do? And then just focus on that thing to do it. Just start doing it a little bit. Pell Grant. What is Pell Grant? Pell Grant is federal aid. That's why all the colleges across the nation, from City College to Harvard, from Stanford to University of Virginia, public or private. Public is basically the government of that state makes all the big decisions. And so, for example, UCs love international students because they pay more, or any type of out-of-state student, but some of them can only have 20%. Who decides that? The government, not the UCs. Private schools, they make their own decisions. So Boston University accepts more than 20% of international students. And so that's why they have a lot of international students there, because they want to be on the global map. Okay, so who's eligible for Pell Grant? So Pell Grant is for families who have high needs. Now, in our state, I'll show you in a minute, also give state aid. So if your student stays in California, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be cheaper, because we saw a lot of colleges in the East Coast and the Midwest who give a lot of free money. Now, I asked some students at the modules, why is that? And our ninth graders. And I go, it's a history lesson here. And they were thinking, and someone else may not know this answer, and it's okay. Guess what? When we started the United States of America, there was only 13 colonies, 13 states who had a lot more time to have a lot more money to build up equity in those colleges, right? That's why UPenn, Harvard, some of the first colleges in the nation have done so well. California schools, we have a handful. You saw Pomona College, there's Pixar, Harvey Mudd, Stanford, you guys know of, but there's a lot more in the Midwest and East Coast. So here, what they look at is the family contribution. If you did not see that estimator that I put on the link, because I knew I was going to refer to it again, this would give you an estimator whether you're Pell eligible or not. Now, this is using last year's information, not this year's. So just keep that in mind, because the FAFSA form will be changing. Here it gives you an example. An eligible student can receive up to 150% of his or her Pell Grant award, and it's every year. And guess what? This money, any federal money, goes anywhere. So if you get $2,000 of that award, right, they divide it up, $1,000 for each semester if they do a semester school. Do you know some schools like the UCs, most of them are quarter systems. So there's 3 quarters in a school year versus 2 semesters. There are 2 UCs that do that, Berkeley and UC Merced. And so there you can find out if you are eligible for that. And then you can see there's a lot of other federal aid program. But I also mentioned to you, what about the state aid? Okay, I'm going to show you Cal State aid. So even if, like, for example, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't give names, especially for my own children. But one of my, I'm going to show you what this website is, but I'm going to share a story with you. A lot of times my advice is not from the counselor I had from my college. It's actually from my days at Safeway, giving you the best customer service, to be present, ready to serve you. And what an honor. And then also as a parent, and also my past students for the last 30 plus years, who told me what works, what doesn't work. And one of my kids really struggled in a class their sophomore year. And I was like, they made announcements in the orientation that this teacher gives really hard grades. And I said, okay, we'll let you repeat the class. And then I looked at my son and I looked at the grade and I'm like, oh, no. He's going to be miserable. Let's find another way. And why was this important? Well, the reason why it was important, because the California State Aid gives money to families that are free. for them, right? So one of them is called, there's a middle class scholarship. So if you're in that middle class bracket, yes, I'm going to give you that link, voted on every year. So there's an income ceiling for you get free money. So remember, you have to apply for FAFSA and apply for a California school in order to get this. So if all your students are dependents at SI, for us wonderful parents and guardians who are out here, and this is the maximum that a family can make, okay, in order to get the middle class scholarship. And then who decides on that? That is from the campuses themselves. They decide on that. And then some students could get a reserve if they chose a community college. So this is only for UCs, Cal State, the CSU, so the ones we showed on the map, and any of the community college that offers a bachelor's degree. Now let's go back to the other one that a lot of our students get, majority of our students get, the Cal Grant. So the Cal Grant, again, you need to do that FAFSA application. I'm going to show you this amount of possible free money that's available for you. So what's the eligibility? You have to do your financial aid form or the California Dream Act. Again, that's only for students who don't have Social Security number. And then notice this, family income and assets. What's a family income? This gets voted by your legislators every year. Did you know when Governor Schwarzenegger was governor of California, he was going to cut this grant in half because of the budget issues. And what ended up happening, didn't pass, because if your family size meets this and their GPA, remember I said like, hey, if you could do one thing, try to see if your kid is on top of their grades. Then, if they're not making friends or connecting to a club or organization on campus, then try to talk to their post-academic counselor or their college counselor. What are some activities that they could do, whether it's inside SI or not? And the reason why I mentioned the GPA, because starting 10th grade year, we start calculating their unweighted GPA. It means no calculation, no calculated honors points. 10th and 11th, if they have a 2.99, they don't get the free tuition at UC or CSU, or almost $10,000 at a private school. So this is something that's really important. Also be important with your legislators, to just say, hey, please raise this. This is killing us in the Bay Area. We need this to be higher for the middle income scholarship. Because as you know, any free money will help. Okay, we only have 2 minutes left. Remember, I promise you I'll answer every question, so I put it in there. How do we find a mentor for the Congress Award Program? I'm familiar with a couple, though. I'm going to just Google it. But if your student wants to be nominated for a specific program, do make sure what's thing is important when you're doing programs. Make sure it's a nonprofit. If they're doing a program at a college, make sure the college is offering it. Please, so important. So on here, if you're looking for a sponsor for the program, they can either go to the department head, they go to their personal academic counselor or their college counselor, and they could find about a mentorship program. And if everyone's like, wait, I like this, and if you're like, wait, this is too hard, do know we've had some students who were youth commissioners. Yes, they could be youth commissioners in their county that they live in. And here's the one in San Francisco. We have had past SI students who have been youth commissioners and done great things. So that's something that is available for them. So if you don't live in San Francisco, guess what? Youth commissioners are everywhere in every county. So just keep that in mind. And if your student's like, I don't know what to do, then guess what? Just ask them, like, if you don't know what to do, like for the summer, ask them, do you want money? They're like, yeah, open your wallet. I'm like, oh, no, love. You're going to go get a job with other teenagers. So My EAP is a job place where you get different job opportunities. So that's from ninth graders. Yes, they could start applying to that. Rising juniors, that means sophomores and everyone older. Did you know there's also an internship? And guess what? If you don't live in San Francisco, you can still apply for it because you go to San Francisco here at a school. So here's Project Pool. And then I'm also going to tell you one last story. Don't feel you have to, my kid have to have this internship, great job, et cetera, et cetera. I had one of my sons who hustled. You've been to Mitchell's? You know that long line? He was an ice cream scooper. And when he was employee of the month, he put that on his college application. And do you know colleges from Harvard, UCLA, when we talk about our kids as our job's important, even if it's just a simple, small job, they love it. Or if you have a beautiful child that's taking care of younger siblings because you're hustling to do the work, they love it. If your family has their own family business, it's beautiful as well. So just know there's all those resources, but the most important resource they have is you. My parents came here, and I'm going to end here, don't worry, with just $500 and trying to just hope for a better life. They weren't planning on staying here, but they just worked so that their children didn't have to work as hard as they did. And then we could have more options. That dedication of always focusing on the family and working as a unit. So how dysfunctional it was. Woo! I got stories. All three of their children, also very different, all first gen, went to college, all still keep in contact with them because we learned from them that whether they were did the best or they're not the best, that they were our best teacher. You are your kid's best teacher. And if they seem like they are not listening, they are listening to you. If it doesn't seem they're watching, oh, heck yes, they are watching you. Be mindful that is the most important thing. Lean on us to help you. Do create some discipline. Hey, you got to use these resources. But right now, help them have that space. Maybe do the dishes for them. Make sure study space. Maybe you have to take away the cell phone a little bit. I know it's hard, but it's possible. You got to focus in finals. Enjoy the hugs. Enjoy the embrace. Enjoy you too. Remember, the way your kid gets to be amazing is for you to acknowledge how you're amazing and your imperfections. Thank you for accepting my imperfections. That's who I am. And thank you for allowing me to serve you guys. Thank you. And until next time.
Thank you for listening to SI Counseling Podcast, where we help our students strive to respond courageously to the opportunities and challenges of our time.